Welcome to episode 25 of Shane Talks. 25 episodes we've done in this COVID 2020 year, and it's a Merry Christmas episode. It's Christmas morning. I mean, not technically right now, but by the time anybody hears this, it will be Christmas morning. I hope you have opened the best presents ever, because everybody deserves the best presents after this shitty year that we've just gone through. Jace's kids are awake trying to get their Christmas presents early?
Already, man.
Already? Wow. Tonight I am double fisting it, actually. I am drinking, Jason and I are both drinking Sun King's newest sour release. It's called Midnight Choir. It's a dark sour ale with, I think it was raspberry and cherry that we decided it has in it.
I don't know. It's tasty. Doesn't taste like beer.
Tastes like
it's got the tartness of it tastes like a spiked juice. That's what it tastes like.
Yeah, that is really tasty. I could drink a lot of these. It's called Midnight Choir, dark sour ale. Oh man, making me hard to talk for a second. After I finish that, I am moving on to their other winter release they put out 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's called Whip Fight. It is a bourbon barrel aged wee heavy with chocolate and pecans. I'm not a big pecan fan, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna end up liking that, but I'll talk about that later when we get to that beer. But let's talk about movies first.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. Put up a Shane Talks poll asking people of the movies they had to make sure they watched every Christmas season. I think there was like 70 movies on this list. Half of them didn't get votes, which is fine. But we're picking out the top 5/6. Because Die Hard is on this list, and since that's a technicality Christmas movie, I threw the 6th entry.
Christmas movie, man. There's no technicality about
it. Just because it takes place at a Christmas party does not make it a Christmas movie.
We established this last week, Shane. It's snowing at the end of the movie. It has lots of Christmas music in it. There are presents that were given. It is a Christmas party. There's a guy who gets dressed up and told that his dead body gets dressed up and says ho ho ho. So you need to be quiet. Santa's looking for you. You need to go to sleep.
So let me ask you this. If you were to put Die Hard on your shelf of DVDs, would you put it with your other action movies, or would you put it with your other Christmas movies?
You have a Christmas movie section?
Oh, dude, I do.
I'm kidding, Shane. I know who you are. I know who I'm talking to.
Here's the first half of my Christmas movie.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's right there.
It is with my action films.
Okay, so there we go.
Give you that.
There we go.
But so all of my Christmas movies are intertwined at my house.
Okay.
So the comedies are in with the comedies, the dramas are in with the dramas.
Okay, all right. So the number one vote getting on this list of what you have to watch at Christmas time is Christmas Vacation. And I can't argue with that at all, because I watch it 10 times a season.
Yeah, I like the movie.
Okay.
It's not required viewing for me every year. It's just, but it's good. I like it a lot.
Die Hard got the second most votes. Third place was Elf.
Did you know John Hughes hated Christmas Vacation?
Did he really?
Yeah, because he had he didn't want it to be made. He had nothing to do with it. They just used his characters. He hated any sequels to any movie.
Interesting.
But yeah, he didn't mind European Vacation so much because of the fact that European Vacation, he actually it was a story, or he wrote it, or maybe it's both. I can't remember what. But yeah, Christmas, he hated Christmas Vacation. He hated Vegas Vacation.
Do you know who the original director of Christmas Vacation was?
No.
Christopher Columbus.
Gotcha.
He and Chevy Chase butted heads too much, and so when they butted heads, he ended up walking off the project. And he actually went and had a meal with John Hughes or whatever. And John Hughes was like, "Good, I'm glad you didn't do that movie. We'll find you another Christmas movie to do." And then a couple of years later, he got the phone call about Home Alone. So yeah, I guess Christopher Columbus and Chevy Chase butted heads a lot. I guess Chevy Chase, because he was a first-time director, Chevy Chase like showed him no respect and didn't want to talk to him or anything like that.
Well, apparently Chevy Chase is hard to work with all over the board, no matter what. So, no big surprise there.
So third most votes went to Jon Favreau's Elf. Is that required viewing in your household?
Yeah, that's a fantastic movie.
Yes, it is.
Instant classic.
Third most votes was the movie that I actually watched with the family last night. That's A Christmas Story. You a fan of that one? No?
It's fine. If it's on, I'll watch it. It's not something I'm like, I need to watch this. It's Christmas time.
Sure.
No, it's nothing like that for me.
Fifth most votes was Love Actually, which is a movie I watch all year round. It doesn't have to be Christmas for me to watch it. I just think it's a phenomenal film, Christmas aside.
So my wife is obsessed with the Hallmark Channel and the Hallmark Christmas movie selection. Before they did it, or before she found out about it, whatever the case may be, this time of year, almost every time I would go to bed, it would be the menu screen playing on the DVD, and it just playing the music on that loop of whatever that is. But yeah, so she used to watch Love Actually. I personally believe you are correct. I think that it is a movie that you can watch at any time of year. I don't even, what's weird is I don't normally think of that as a Christmas movie, which is odd because it is a Christmas movie, but I don't necessarily always think of it as one.
Sure.
So,
It definitely is a Christmas movie. I agree that like it transcends just being a Christmas movie. Like,
yeah,
I mean, literally the opening 5 minutes says 5 weeks till Christmas, and then it counts down to Christmas. Obviously, all Christmas references and everything in it, but it's also very subtle in a lot of the scenes. Like, it's just like the office scene stuff. With Laura Linney, it's not really focused on the Christmas aspect of it. It's focused on her life. And Colin, he doesn't really have a whole lot to do, like, Christmas-wise. The porn set has really nothing to do with Christmas. Like, there's a lot of stuff not Christmas-related in it.
And I feel like one of my issues, there's not a whole lot with that movie that I dislike, but I feel like the continuity isn't there properly. I feel like with the way it jumps, it doesn't fit together as nicely as they would want it to. Well, and that's just my opinion. So.
The only thing that I will say, I only agree with that on the Christmas Eve part. Once the movie gets to Christmas Eve, there's like 45 or 50 more minutes of stuff that it claims all happens on Christmas Eve, and that's just really, really tough in my opinion. But for the most part, I mean, the rest of the movie takes place over 5 weeks, so I don't really know how much continuity I really pay attention to that. But literally, like, once it gets to the point where it pops up and says Christmas Eve, there's a lot of stuff that it says happens that night. Yeah. So it is what it is. So finally, the extras that I threw in because of the Die Hard debate, the sixth answer was Home Alone 1 and 2, which are two of my favorite movies. I literally just got done watching Home Alone 2 before we started recording. Wait, you don't hate? Do you hate Home Alone or do you hate Home Alone 2?
Home Alone is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And Home Alone 2 is literally the exact same movie, just a change of scenery, and it annoys me. Like, kind of like what we talked about with, like, Die Hard, and how it's, like, the exact same situation.
Sure.
What just happens to happen to the same guy? It's, like, the same exact thing that I have problems with, with most sequels even. You look at, like, the Hangover series does the exact same thing, where it's, like, why is the exact same thing happening to the exact same people the exact same time of year? Like, it
much like we discussed last year, like, Home Alone 2 had to have been a cash grab. They saw the success of Home Alone 1. I mean, I give them enough credit that they didn't have him be home alone at his own home again, like the third and fourth movies do or whatever. I mean, they at least came up with a somewhat plausible plot of him following the wrong person onto an airplane. But and actually just recently on my Facebook memories that came up, it reminded me I was watching Home Alone 2 like 8 or 9 years ago, and I made a Facebook post about how upset I was that in who are the people that TSA in the current modern TSA, like the plot of Home Alone 2 could never happen. Like you can't just run through the airport and like run all the way up to a gate as it's closing or anything now. Like never could be made. Like Home Alone 2 could never be made the same way it was.
Whatever, man. If they're gonna remake it, and then they're just gonna do the exact same thing, and everybody's gonna act like it would happen anyway.
All right, so those are the top vote getting ones, and some quick thoughts on those. Now my question for you is, tell me the required mayor family viewing. Like, what do your kids demand to watch, or what do you make sure you show your kids every year?
Mostly stuff that you've already talked about.
Oh, okay.
Elf, Home Alone. Those are the two main ones for my household. My wife, she's a big fan of the Grinch. So usually the kids watch, like tonight they watch the live action Ron Howard version tonight.
Oh, the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I love that one. I think it's fantastic. It gets a little slow at points, but for the most part, if it can keep my kids entertained that long, I love that movie.
Have you guys watched the 2018 Grinch?
We did at one point, and I just remember being kind of disappointed because of the simple fact that it was like the exact same. Like literally,
they went really far making the Grinch bad in that movie, like to the point where I just didn't like his character at all.
Yeah, and maybe that was their whole shtick with that one, but I didn't care for it. So.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. It's definitely, of all the versions of the Grinch, well, it's my least favorite now. We haven't watched the live action, Broadway Grinch thing that they released.
We, Letha and I actually saw that on Broadway while we were, I want to say 06, 07, 08, somewhere in that realm.
Okay.
We actually went to Broadway and saw it performed while it was in previews. And that, it's a story and a show that for me did not translate well to the stage.
Okay.
And I only say that because I was bored, man. Like
really?
when you're doing, and I know a lot of people who love like Disney's Lion King, the Broadway version. Okay. While it is visually stunning, it is boring to me to watch the exact same thing that I could watch. Like, there's a reason why that movie's a classic and why Jon Favreau didn't even have to go and redo it last year.
Sure.
Like, you don't touch classics. Like, you just don't. And that's literally a classic as far as the original 94 version. And I think the stage production, like I said, looks stunning and it's beautiful, but man, is it just like, okay, I know this. You're literally keeping the dialogue's like 99% the same. There's a couple of things that they twitch.
Are you talking about the Lion King or are you talking about the Grinch?
Both.
Both.
Like they both fall into that category of I know it so well that I'm bored because you're not giving me new. It's just a retelling of in the exact same manner. So it just didn't work.
Gotcha. So. Yeah. I want to watch the Grinch Broadway thing just so that I can see it, but I have really low expectations for it. Like
you should. Like and Matthew Morrison's awesome, like as a Broadway performer and as an actor in general. He was on Glee. He played the main guy on Glee.
Oh, okay.
The
teacher or whatever.
The teacher for the first 3 or 4 seasons or whatever.
Gotcha.
He played Link originally on Broadway for Hairspray, the Zac Efron part in the movie.
Okay.
He played James Barry in Finding Neverland on Broadway.
Oh.
And he's fantastic. He has a wonderful voice. Can listen to that man sing anything. And
that's the guy who plays the Grinch.
Yeah, and he plays the Grinch, but Letha had it on because she is, like I said, a huge Grinch fan.
Sure.
And she had it on, and I watched a little bit with her, but due to the fact that I knew I didn't care for the musical, I didn't stick around. So.
Right on. So I'm curious if you have. Is there any Christmas movie that is tied to your childhood that you have a fond, like you hold it fondly now because of your childhood? Was there anything you watched as a kid that like just stays with you?
I love Scrooge.
Oh, nice.
Scrooged.
Yeah, Scrooged. Yeah, okay.
Scrooged was something that was on a lot at my parents' house.
We'll definitely get talking to that one here in just a couple minutes. But
Christmas Vacation was on, and I remember my brother Dave being a huge Christmas Story fan.
Oh, cool.
Just not something that I ever really got into. But I mean, yeah, Scrooge is definitely probably the one that sticks in my head the most.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Cool. Well, I did a Love Actually poll. Didn't get a whole lot of votes back on it, but I wanted to know what people thought was their favorite relationship that happened in Love Actually. Neither you nor I voted on the first place one. The first place one ended up being Juliet, Peter, and Mark, which, while I love all three of those actors, and while I really enjoy overall the story that goes on, like I love when Laura Linney thinks that Andrew Lincoln is in love with Chewie instead of Keira Knightley. Like I thought that was a great bit that they threw in there. I have my wife and I agree on this fully. Keira Knightley breaks a relationship when she kisses Andrew Lincoln. Like that scene with Andrew Lincoln is fine. Like he gets to tell her how he feels. Like he gets that burden off of his chest. But she didn't need to chase him down in the street and kiss him. Like there's just that ruins that relationship for me, and I can't make it my favorite because of that. I like a lot of the other stuff. I like the build up to what ends up happening, like when she comes over to watch the wedding videos and like then she starts to realize that it's all about her. Like I really enjoy that and how it unfolds and how he just takes off. But like her kissing him just didn't work for me and ruined that relationship. Like the three-way relationship.
And what I'm going to counterpoint on this.
All right.
Is you got to remember that relationships are, we see relationships, I'm betting, quite differently than they do in the UK.
Okay.
And and her kissing him might not be so cheating as we would dub it here in the United States. You and I have talked about this numerous times. And for anybody who's listening and doesn't know, that scene had a lot more to it that we've seen bits and pieces through pictures or through the trailer. Mm-hmm. He says a couple of other things in that sequence when he's showing her the flashcards that aren't shown in the American version.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if we would feel differently, if you and Caitlin would feel differently if you had seen the UK version or the extended version or whatever, if we could see whatever that extra stuff was in that relationship.
For sure. I can't remember if that extra stuff is on the DVD, but I know I've seen that, like, when there's the, like, pictures of the mummy and there's the pictures of Kathy Ireland and, like, he talks about I'll love you no matter which one of these you look like or whatever. Like, I know I've seen the additional stuff, or at least some of the additional stuff.
And from being somebody who's been overweight most of my life, like I can tell you that it seemed to me like there was a fat shaming kind of thing going on. To me, that's what it seemed like Chewie was doing to her. And I think it's like if I'm remembering correctly, because he said something about calling her fat jokingly, but I can't remember if that was in the trailer that's no longer in the movie or actually in the movie. But yeah, like there's a aspect to it where I think he loves her, but he's not treating her the best that she could be treated, which is another reason why her kissing him might not be the worst thing. Because I in piecing together what I can remember, it seems to me like he might not be the nice guy that he comes off in the US version. Chewie's character might not be that good of a guy. He might be the asshole that he is friends with, but no, he like the main what's his name?
Mark.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Mark doesn't Mark knows he's an asshole. Mark knows that Juliet's not being that Peter's an asshole and not being treated correctly, but she's staying with him for whatever reason. So like there's not much hope to it. So that's just my personal opinion from everything I've been able to put together from all the cut stuff. So
that's an interesting take, and I can't argue it.
And you know, this is one of those movies where I absolutely like why we've talked about it from other movies, but it's like, why not put out alternate, like if there is an alternate version,
a director's
put it out digitally, just digitally. You don't have to create a physical copy. Let me buy it. I'd pay $20 to watch that.
Sure.
You know, instead of something brand new, which I don't know if I'm going to like or not. I know I love Love Actually. So I'm willing to pay $20 to watch an alternate version where something might be super cool that never was there before. So
well, and on that topic, like, it's completely not Christmas related at all, but it's like, it's odd how many of my DVDs I cannot get rid of because they have those alternate cuts of movies on them and whatnot. Like, I've bought Almost Famous digitally, but they don't have Almost Famous Untitled available digitally. So if I ever want to watch,
so stupid.
It is. If I ever want to watch Untitled, I have to actually physically put in a DVD to watch it.
Yeah, but speaking of, I just watched, we bought a Zoo the other day, all the way through for the first time.
Nice. It's
just
fun.
A couple of days ago. And, nothing fantastic about it. I really enjoy, we're getting off on a side tangent here, obviously. But hey, it was released around Christmas in 2011, so we're going to count it somewhat as a Christmas movie.
Very end of November of 2011, I think. Like right
December
after.
23rd.
Really? Okay.
It was a Christmas release. So
I may have gone to a screening of it a month early then. I think I did go see it a month early. I saw it in November that year. I
really like when he I like it when he's looking through the photos and the photos start to come alive and he kind of gets pulled into the photos.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool trick that Cameron Crowe used.
Yep.
And then at the very end, when he takes his kids to the place where he met her for the first time and she appears and the kids can see her.
Sure.
Or see her.
Right.
Even though she's not there. Both of those aspects of that movie are really, really nicely done. So
yeah, and I really enjoyed the son and Elle Fanning or whatever. Yeah, Elle Fanning. I really enjoy their quasi relationship that blossoms throughout the thing. So. All right, back to Christmas. Cameron Crowe is a god. Everybody knows that. Back to Christmas.
Love Actually.
Your favorite couple in Love Actually is David and Natalie.
And that's the second most votes,
most votes, and it's my wife's favorite, and I can't argue that. I probably would pick them as well.
What did you pick?
I didn't vote on any of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I probably would have voted David and Natalie if I voted.
I love David and Natalie just for the simple fact that whoever that actress is, I think she is super adorable.
Yes, agreed.
She, in some weird way, reminds me of the female squirrel in Sword in the Stone. Can't tell you why. Doesn't make much sense. Just how cute both of them are. But I just love the being somebody who's proud to be an American and everything. It's kind of that moment of Billy Bob Thornton's president is just the worst of us.
Yep.
And the way that he's just assuming everybody's just going to bow to him, and for David's strength to come out for his country,
sure,
because of that, and what he wants a relationship with Natalie to be.
Right.
I just it's super adorable. Who doesn't love Hugh Grant in almost anything he does?
For sure.
And then
his dancing scene is great.
Oh yes, fantastic.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's definitely my favorite relationship in Love Actually.
The other relationship in the movie that I enjoy, I don't necessarily love.
It's Colin and the American Girls.
Well, I do love Colin and the American Girls because, my problem with that is Colin flies into Milwaukee and orders a Bud Light. in the capital of Miller Country, like where Miller and Miller Lite are produced. He walks into a bar and orders a Budweiser, which is
You
made
can
in
still get
St.
Budweiser in
Louis, Missouri.
Milwaukee.
You can, but nobody does it. Everybody drinks Miller Lite up there. Like it's
You
a
would have
loyalty
thought
thing.
they could have just written it into St. Louis instead of being in
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
either way, like or just write it that he goes and orders a Miller Lite. How hard would that be?
Maybe they didn't pay enough money.
I guess not. I do love Colin and the American Girls. All the American Girls are absolutely beautiful and talented actresses in the early 2000s. But I don't think this is my favorite relationship in any way. But I love the dynamic of the porn stars because throughout all of their scenes, they're getting more and more naked and physically exposing themselves to each other. But when they finally, but it's very awkward dialogue and conversation between them while they're completely naked. And then when they try to go on their first date, even though they're dressed up and they're like fully clothed, they have a very difficult time opening up to each other, despite the fact that they have literally seen each other completely bare naked and shouldn't have anything to hide from each other. Like emotionally, when they try to make that connection, like I'm not saying it's not there, it's just it's more difficult for them. Like they just have very awkward, like short dialogue between the two of them. Like it's just like a really weird first date for them. But I really enjoy that dynamic.
I always wondered if they're actual porn stars or if they're actually like the porn star doubles who are just helping the lighting.
Correct. That is what they are. That they are not the actual porn stars, but what they do, they're still. I mean, we still see both of them butt ass naked. So like they still, for lighting purposes and visual stuff, they have to, get stripped down and naked in front of each other. You're right; they're not the actual porn stars. I stand corrected on that. But yeah, so I always enjoyed that part of like every one of their scenes as it keeps developing, they're losing more and more clothing and becoming more exposed to each other and just making random chit chat and whatnot. But then when they actually try to go out on their first date, it's hard for them to open up to each other, like at least in the beginning, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I always found that really like metaphorically awesome to just watch the evolution of their characters in each scene as it progressed.
And I love Aurelia and
oh yes, that would probably be my number two. My number two couple in the whole thing is Aurelia and Colin Firth. I can't think of his character's name.
Exactly.
But the fact that they don't speak the same dialogue, they have a language barrier throughout 2 hours of the movie, and then both of them learns each other's language after they've been separated just in case. Like, and obviously his scene at the diner or when he shows up at her dad's restaurant is amazing.
Yeah.
So
fantastic.
That is.
But the movie overall
one
is
of
just
the best
great.
couples. Was that?
The movie overall is just fantastic.
It is. It's 9 different couples, I believe, that all get intertwined. Like it's just Richard Curtis wrote an amazing story, wrote some really good characters. Like, I mean, as sad as it is to say, like Alan Rickman's character is one of the ones that I like the least. And like
you're not supposed to like him.
But they leave it really ambiguous. I mean, he obviously gives the short black-haired chick the necklace, but like, I don't know. Like, and like they just leave it so ambiguous that I have trouble processing it, because even at the end at the airport when he comes back, like Emma Thompson like makes him kiss her on the cheek. Like it's not a romantic kiss or anything. So it's like, are they still just together for the kids? Are they even still together? Like if they're not together, why did she show up? Like, I don't know. That one's tough for me in the grand scheme of it.
You don't always need a neat bow on everything.
You're right. We don't at all. All right. So you got anything else about Love Actually?
Fantastic movie. You haven't seen it? Make the time to go see it.
For sure. The last poll that I put up actually earlier today was asking people their favorite version of A Christmas Carol. I put up like 9 or 10 different versions that I could remember. And as you stated, which was the number one vote getter, is Scrooged. And I can't argue with that. Bill Murray is phenomenal in that movie.
Bill Murray's phenomenal in almost any movie he ever does, right? I don't know if he pretty much plays the exact same character in almost every movie he's in too. So, but he does it well enough that you don't care that he's playing the exact same person over and over again.
And the movie itself is just so meta about the fact that they're producing A Christmas Carol for television, and then he is going through literally A Christmas Carol in his life.
Oh, dude, that movie. And then the old lady, who's one of the ghosts. Mm-hmm. She was also in Princess Bride. She played the wife of Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal, yep.
In Princess Bride, I can't remember her name right now, but she's fantastic as that ghost, and she's just annoying enough that you're willing to put up with it. But yeah. She's great. So
that movie is top notch, laugh out loud, top to bottom, like very fun. It's actually on our list to watch in the next 2 or 3 days before Christmas. We haven't gotten to it yet, but it's definitely one of our classics that we're going through this week. It's a Wonderful Life is the other one that we still haven't gotten to.
Dude, that movie is so long.
It is. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes or something. 2:35.
I thought it was closer to 4.
No, I think it's close to 3. I think it pushes on 3.
That's weird.
What's up?
According to IMDb, it says it's only 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I know that's wrong.
Yeah, it feels a lot longer than
2:10. You continue with what you were saying, though. Sorry.
Oh, nothing. I was just saying that the second most votes for A Christmas Carol was the Muppet Christmas Carol, where we had Michael Caine playing Ebenezer Scrooge. And I won't argue with that either, because I feel like Michael Caine did a phenomenal job in that movie. Are you still looking at what's going on with It's a Wonderful Life?
No, yeah, it was just... Yeah, it's only 2:10.
I thought it was a lot longer. 3. Yeah, I really thought it was like 2:40.
Yeah, I thought so too. Maybe that's just because of commercials or whatever, but...
That could be it.
Who knows?
Yeah, So, give me your thoughts on A Muppet Christmas Carol while I check something.
Never watched it, man.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I've never sat down to watch the whole thing.
All right.
So, my kids watch Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas and Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas quite often, and then the Scrooge aspect in that one is.
Sure. We just earlier tonight watched the Mickey Christmas Carol or whatever it is, where Scrooge McDuck is Scrooge and Mickey is whatever.
Timmy.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. There we go. All right, It's a Wonderful Life, according to Voodoo, has a running time of 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's really awkward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seriously thought it was longer.
Yeah, maybe it just feels that long because it's in black and white and has a lot that goes on. Granted, it is also told non-linear, so I should literally absolutely love this movie because it's non-linear Christmas, but I like the movie, and like I said, we're going to watch it in the next 2 or 3 days, but yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. I understand the meaning, and I understand that it's a great Christmas movie. It's just there's a lot of other Christmas movies that I watch that I enjoy far more than that one. But I do need to watch it once a year because I do consider it one of the classics. But it's not.
Never seen it.
You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life?
Never seen it.
Wow. Wow. All right. Well, that happens. I'm baffled now. Where were we at on? The one other Christmas Story version of Scrooge that I do really personally like a lot is the Patrick Stewart one from '99.
Is that the musical version?
No, it's not a musical. It doesn't have music in it that I remember. It's A Christmas Carol from 1999 with Patrick Stewart. I don't remember any music in it.
So one of the interesting things, and let me see if I'm right about this, is that Jennifer Love Hewitt was in a production of, I thought it was a version of this, A Christmas Carol the musical. It was a TV movie made in 2004.
Okay.
This one's got Kelsey Grammer.
Oh.
Jesse L. Martin.
Oh.
Jane Krasinski. Or Krakowski.
However you say it.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jason Alexander. Yeah, this version, this TV version, what's very interesting personally to me was our senior year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
We did a song when I was in choir called A Place Called Home.
Okay.
And it's a song that was written by somebody that our choir teacher and our choir choreographer were married, the Bridgewaters. The Bridgewaters knew a lady named Dee Dee oh my goodness, it's been so long. Dee Dee was her first name.
Okay.
It was Mancock or something like that, I think was her last name. She wrote the song, and we were the first ones ever to perform it.
Holy cow!
And it was a part of our production our senior year. And being on Apple Music like you are,
yeah,
a lot of times things pop into my head, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if somebody's ever recorded this. And that song, A Place Called Home, which we performed for the first time in public in 1998, is on this movie.
No way.
And Jennifer Love Hewitt sings this song as one of the songs from this Christmas Carol musical. So
that's amazing.
So it's one of those things where I'm like, man, like that's cool that she sold the song, but it's also cool that we were the first ones to ever perform that song.
Dude, that's really cool.
So yeah, like I have it in a playlist on Apple Music because of the fact that it was something that has a tie to me growing up and me in high school. So
that's really awesome. And it's really cool that it ended up in a Christmas production of all things that it could be in.
Yeah, like I like when I typed it in, I was like, "There's no way Jennifer Love Hewitt's playing this song," and then I hit play, and I was like, "This is our song."
So, out of curiosity, I know recently during COVID, you have uploaded a bunch of your high school Central Sound productions and stuff like that. Is that song in one of those videos you uploaded?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Our senior year.
Really cool. I'll have to check that out.
1998. So, but yeah, it's called A Place Called Home.
Nice.
It was our ballad, which was our third song my senior year. So.
All right. Yeah. So that's a lot of movie stuff. In our transition to TV, I am going to talk about Whip Fight real quick. Wow, this is like drinking bourbon. This is a really bourbony beer. Chocolate is definitely there, and I think the aftertaste is the only thing I don't really care for on this beer, and I think that's where the pecans are coming in. Like it's a real nutty finish to this beer. So it's bourbony if you like bourbon, and I'm gonna drink it. So cheers. We've talked about Christmas movies. Let's talk about some Christmas TV shows now.
Number one for the top 5 TV special from the poll is
The Grinch. Well, hold on. Here's what I'm going to say real quick. For a lot of this, we got to go back to the 60s. So that's talking about how, like, timeless these things were. Because the top 4 vote getters, all from the 1960s. This was How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 1966. And like we said, like this is still my favorite version of the Grinch of all of them that's out.
Yes, definitely.
I think it's perfect. I enjoy the Jim Carrey version, but my problem, even though it's an hour and a half, thank God, is they drag it out, and it's an unfortunate thing by trying to take, a 30-page book, a 30-minute or 22-minute TV special, and making it into an hour and a half. They just drug out a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff they added was fine. But some of the other stuff, as you said earlier, just gets really slow in that version.
I will agree.
The second one, we are going to go with my wife's most hated part of Christmas. She absolutely hates Rankin Bass and anything that has to do with stop motion. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in 1964 is the one part of Christmas my wife refuses to indulge in with me. Anytime I want to watch any of the Rankin Bass specials, she peace outs and finds something else to do. Are you frozen?
I am not.
Oh,
I love
God,
your wife even more. I love your wife even more.
Oh, really?
I cannot stand. And you know what? It's not stop motion that's the problem.
Okay.
It's the annoyance. The high-pitched squeals of the sound effects and the character voices. I literally want to rip my ears off when my kids are watching these. Oh my God, I can't stand this. This is where we were. I was trying to make you angry and mad at me. I was looking forward to this, but never mind. I love your wife. I'm gonna hang out with her the next time. Next time you put on this, and I'm anywhere near, I know who I'm gonna go hang out with.
Yeah.
So, oh God,
yeah.
I think they're completely overrated. I don't mind. It's kind of like. And if anybody's listening and gets to this point, they're going to be really angry with me. I don't care for the Beatles.
For the what?
At all.
For the what?
Beatles.
Oh, the Beatles.
The musical group,
okay.
The Beatles.
Yeah.
Here's the weird thing. I really like their music when it's done by somebody else.
Oh, wow.
Their versions of their music is not good for me and not good for my ears. And I feel the exact same way about this. I know that they influenced Elf heavily.
Yep, heavily.
And I love Elf. And I don't even mind the stop motion things in Elf.
Sure.
And I think it's a lot of fun and very nostalgic. But I cannot stand Rudolph or Frosty or the return of Frosty or any of the other bull crap that they made. It's just... mind-numbing.
I will say a lot of the later ones I don't really care for as much, but like as far as a story goes, like Rudolph and the story about being a misfit and finding your place in the world, like that is such a good, wholesome, heartfelt storyline. Oh man.
Misfit.
Yeah. All right. Number 3 is going to give you your chance to piss me off if you really want to, because we're going to 1965 and the release of A Charlie Brown Christmas.
It's fine. It's okay.
Okay.
A lot of people love it.
Yep.
I just think it's fine.
Well,
I don't have any real problems with it, but and I don't know why. I don't care for a Charlie Brown. Like, I don't care for any of the Charlie Brown stuff, especially the original animated stuff. I think it was very, like, it's just blah. It's there. It's fine. I like the cartoon, like the actual cartoon strip. I actually like it more than I like the cartoons. I enjoyed the Peanuts movie quite a bit when it came out.
That movie. And I really enjoyed their Christmas section that they had in it.
I really like that movie. It's very silly. I like the animation style that they use. Overall,
2012?
Wasn't it?
It was 2016. It was 2016.
Was it that late?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I guess Sarah was able to go see it in the theater, so yeah, that would make sense. But yeah, it's just fine. Nothing I'd be like. It being in the top 5 makes sense.
Sure.
Like, I just don't think of it as...
Do you show it to your kids every year?
I don't need to show it to them. My wife loves the Rankin Bass stuff, and she loves Charlie Brown stuff. So it's on the DVR, and my kids will watch it all the time.
Good.
No matter what time of year it is,
Good.
It's on the DVR. It has been since last year, I think.
Nice.
It never got deleted. It's still there from last year.
I mean, you've got Disney Plus. You have access to it without commercials.
Well, you mean Apple Plus? So, aren't they on Apple?
Yeah. Yeah, Apple Plus.
But
sorry, yeah. Apple
whatever
Plus.
the case may be, like, I don't care because I don't watch it. So if they want to watch commercials, let them.
All right. Well, so we can kind of skim over 4 because we kind of touched the 1969 Frosty the Snowman, which I don't love, but I also don't hate. Like, I will watch it, but I don't go out of my way to watch it. I think it's fine.
And that one's more of a cartoon, isn't it?
Yes,
compared to Rankin Bass.
Yeah.
Like, is that a Rankin Bass thing?
I
don't think it might. I don't think it is.
That one was.
No. And Frosty's fine. But like overall, I'm not a fan of the Rankin Bass stuff. So.
Number 5 is one that I haven't seen. I tried to tell myself I was going to watch it today, and I honestly just lost track of time and didn't. Pat Dyer added "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" from 1974. You haven't seen it either? Yeah, I told myself I was going to watch it before tonight so that I could talk about it, and unfortunately I didn't. I failed on that part, but I may tomorrow. I think I got some time. I can look into trying to Trying to find. I don't know if it's available on streaming or anywhere else, but if it is, I might try to give it a watch tomorrow. I mean, if it's a TV special, it can't be more than an hour of my time. So because I'd never seen that one, I went ahead and threw in number 6. Also because it's one of my favorite Christmas specials is A Garfield Christmas, which I watched numerous times. You don't like it?
I honestly don't know if I've ever watched it.
Oh man, so like John takes Garfield and Odie out to his parents' house in the farm, where there's a lot of snow, and they meet Grandma, and they make a whole bunch of food, and then Odie and Garfield go out to the shed in the back, and Odie makes Garfield a back scratcher, and while Garfield's watching him make that, Garfield finds a bunch of letters that Grandpa wrote to Grandma when he was in the war, and so then on Christmas morning he gives them to Grandma, and you know it's heartfelt. Nothing,
Cool.
nothing ringing a bell.
Nope.
All right, cool. Well, Garfield special, I really enjoy that. So
I'm surprised that the Star Wars Holiday Special's not on there.
Yep. And as it's become a topic of hot debate between myself and Dave Lichty in the last week, the Star Wars Holiday Special is something that I watch once a year. I've made it known in the past. I got a copy. My first copy I got of it was in 2012. I came across a DVD from somebody else. I ripped it. I made a digital file of it so that I always had digital access to it and could stream it anywhere that I wanted to. And every year, I sit down with some pretty big, heavy beers, and I start drinking pretty heavily while I watch it because I just find it fun to laugh at. I do enjoy the Boba Fett cartoon, which I know everybody says is the highlight of the entire special. Yep. But every year, I'm pretty I do Jaeger bombs during this. I get pretty hammered while I watch it because I think that's the only way to enjoy it. So every year I have to rewatch it because I don't really remember everything.
Oh man, that movie!
How many times have you watched it?
I think I've only I made it through it once.
Once, okay.
And I want to say that was in the early 2000s.
I mean, it's
when
bad.
Somebody bought a copy of it at a Comic-Con.
I think it was when we were up in Chicago.
Yeah, I want to say it was in 2000 or when we went back in 02 or 03 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, we watched it, and it definitely should be a drinking game.
Oh, for sure.
So it's a very, very bad episode, or a very bad Christmas special.
That still hasn't been watched yet this year. A lot of times I watch it as close to Christmas Eve as I can. Back in the day when I actually had a job, it really just depended on what nights I was working or not working. So I'm sure I'll find time to watch it before Christmas this year. So let's move on to those. Those were the specials that were specifically made Christmas specials. There are hundreds of sitcoms that have done thousands of Christmas episodes. You and I, both huge Friends fans. I want to know, of all of the Friends Christmas episodes, which one's your favorite? I know which one's mine. Which one's yours?
Oh, that's so tough. You listed all 10 of them, huh?
I did. I listed them all. I want to know which one of those episodes is your favorite Christmas episode.
Okay, so the one I'm having trouble with, right, is I love aspects of all of them,
sure,
because they're Friends episodes. Yeah. But one of my favorites is the one with all the candy.
Candy lady,
where he the guy knocks on the door and he's like, so you live here? You think I noticed that? And Chandler's like, good night, Gary. Just
yep.
Gotta get me some candy. Oh, dude, that's one of those moments.
Do you even know her name? Yeah, Candy Lady.
I love it when Joey's out in the hallway yelling at her with everybody else.
And then he comes in the apartment when they kick everybody else out.
The one with the inappropriate sister is very, very funny.
Yes, it is.
One of the I have a friend who was inappropriate at some point with a family member.
Oh.
And I remember somebody, and not in the gross way. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
let me rephrase that. It was a perceived gross way, but it wasn't a real gross way. And what I mean by that was somebody was like, yeah, that's so and so, mentioned the relationship like blood wise. And then somebody else was like, what? They're related because of the way that they were with one another.
Gotcha.
So like that episode hits so much funnier for me just because of that simple fact. But the one with the routine, man, like I don't know if you can't that in the Holiday Armadillo, like
that's mine. Like, you hit
like
mine
Superman
right
showing up.
Yep.
Like it's so ridiculous and stupid, and
the Easter Bunny's funeral.
Well, and then at the very end, when she's like, "Can you keep the Santa outfit for an extra day or whatever?"
Did your dad ever dress up as Santa? No. Then it's okay.
like the Holiday Armadillo is really good.
The Holiday Armadillo is my favorite. I love the first sequence between Ross and Ben when he's like, "Do you know what holiday's coming up soon?" And Ben's like, "Christmas." And he's like, "Do you know what other holiday's coming up? Christmas Eve." And then like he starts singing Jingle Bells, and Ross is like, "Yeah, but we have dreidel, dreidel, dreidel." And then Ben starts singing a different Christmas song, and Ross goes, "Well, it's not a competition." Like I love the Holiday Armadillo episode, and then Ross's Step Forward is probably my second. I really liked the caricature of Mona a lot. That's where him and Mona are doing the Christmas card together. and she's like, "Well, do you think it should say love Ross and Mona?" And he goes, "I mean, sure, why not? We haven't said it to each other, but like, why not? Let's put it on a card." So I really enjoyed that one too. The Christmas in Tulsa is kind of blah. I mean, it's kind of funny for the way like Monica overreacting to Selma Blair's character. Is she hot?
Yeah.
Like, so that's okay, but like Holiday Armadillo definitely my number one, and then the one with all the candy and Ross's Step Forward are kind of like 2 and 3 for me. Like they're both really good.
And I don't know if I could pick. Like my favorite Friends episode of all time is the one where no one's ready. Like,
sure,
it's the best episode.
I agree.
In my opinion,
3, episode 2, I believe.
Whatever the case may be, it's like that one, and then the one with the videotape or whatever.
Yes.
When you find out why in the secret story you tell when you want to have sex, like it's just like
yes.
Like that whole episode and Regina Phalange and Ken Adams and the way it all just flows together.
Ken Adams! Yes. That is one of the best written shows or episodes of that show ever. Like the way it plays out, they set everything up to build up to that. Where like Rachel is like, and in 10 seconds you're gonna see Ross, coming on to me, and Ross goes, and in 5 seconds you're gonna see why I did. Like that's one of the best written episodes ever.
Oh, absolutely. Those are probably my 2 favorites overall. But out of Christmas episodes, if I had to pick one,
yep.
I think I'd probably go with The Routine because that's pretty funny.
That is, it's pretty good. Which is it's technically a Christmas episode, but it's kind of half like a New Year's Eve episode since they're going to the taping of Dick Clark's thing, but they're taping it way early from New Year's Eve, so everything's dressed in Christmas attire. It's still a Christmas episode, but you kind of.
When is this going to air?
No, like really, like when is this going to air? No, that's a really good one too. So moving on from Friends, are there any TV episodes that are Christmas set episodes that you really make sure you watch? Like I don't know, Buffy. I know you're a big Buffy fan. Does Buffy have a Christmas episode?
She did. They did.
Okay.
And it's a really good episode.
Okay.
But to be honest, as far as like serial television shows that had episodes, I can't think of anything where I'm like, I need to watch this every year. No, like, yeah. Man, I got nothing.
So you're really telling me that there's a lot mentally wrong with me because I got a list that we can go through. Because first of all, growing up, one of my all-time favorite television shows has always been Saved by the Bell. Huge Saved by the Bell.
Of course, anybody our age, like that was everybody's show.
So they had a 2-part episode, Home for the Holidays or something like that, I think it was called. Home for Christmas, parts 1 and 2, about a homeless guy and his homeless daughter, and they're working at the mall, and Zach really gets involved with the daughter, and then things go haywire. They're doing a Christmas Carol production in the mall, and she gets cast in it. But then, like, her boss thinks that she's stealing when he finds out that she's homeless. Like, terrible things ensue, and everything gets worked out in the end. Um, I always loved it growing up, and then luckily through the powers of the internet, I have been able to become actually really good friends with Jennifer McComb, who plays the homeless girl in that episode. So yearly, I have to make sure that I watch it to show some love and support for my friend Jennifer. Um, but I really love those 2 episodes of Saved by the Bell. I loved them before I was friends with Jennifer, but as our friendship has grown, like I make sure I watch them every year because I really want to, throw some love her way. I try to make sure I post on Facebook about it and whatnot. But do you ever have you gone back and watched those episodes? Do you ever watch Saved by the Bell?
I loved the episodes while they were on. I've watched them numerous times while growing up. Since I don't know if I've watched a single full episode of Saved by the Bell since I got in my 20s.
Okay, you should go.
Still one of my favorite shows of all time.
You should go watch the Christmas episode. Show them to your kids. They're kid appropriate. Like, show them to your kids this week. Saved by the Bell, Home for the Holidays, season 3, episodes 24 and 25. Jennifer McComb, good friend Shane's, plays the homeless girl. You won't regret showing them to your kids. It's just good fun to go back and watch. About a week ago, Caitlin and I sat down one night and we watched every single Christmas episode of King of Queens. King of Queens with Kevin James and Leah Remini is one of my favorite television shows. Luckily, I've been showing it to my wife in bits and pieces, and she has fallen in love with the show also. She likes how much of a bitch Leah Remini is, and I like how much of a fat, goofy guy Kevin James is. And
it's because it's your relationship.
It's exactly our relationship. My wife is very
and I mean that lovingly towards Caitlin.
I will flat out say it. My wife is very opinionated and makes her opinions very well known in a Queens Bronxy girl kind of way, where she doesn't filter herself when she's talking to people. And I try to be the fat funny guy, so the show is the show usually involves Doug being very childish and getting involved in something that he really has no business being involved in, his wife telling him how much of an idiot he is, him not listening to her, and then in the end, her explaining why she's right. And that's kind of my relationship anyway. I pretty much am childish and try to do very childish things, and my wife is always like, "You're an idiot, but go ahead." And then when I fail, she's like, "You're an idiot, and I told you." So we've really enjoyed King of Queens and watching it together. So we literally went through every single season. I had almost every season of the show has a Christmas specific episode. So I mean, it took 3 or 4 hours one night, but we watched them all. Lots of fun. We had a really good time with it. Cheers has one really good Christmas episode that I watch. I think it's in season 6. It has to be after season 5 because Diane's gone and Kirstie Alley is there. So I think it's season 6. It's called Christmas Cheers. Norm becomes a Santa at one of the local stores, and then he brings a bunch of his Santa buddies in to drink on Christmas Eve because Kirstie Alley's character makes them stay open on Christmas Eve because at this point, Sam does not own the bar, so he gets upset because he always gave everybody Christmas Eve off, and she's making them work on Christmas Eve. So that's a fun episode. I'm a big Home Improvement fan. And a couple of years ago, I rewatched Home Improvement. Yeah. The first season, their Christmas episode was called "You'll Better Watch Out." But the one good thing the fun thing that they did with Home Improvement was Tim always had a competition with the guy across the street, and I can't remember the character's name. It was never a character that you saw. It was just a character he always talked about. But they always had battling Christmas displays every year. So most of the seasons, their Christmas episode was based around Tim trying to outdo the guy across the street for a better Christmas display. So that was kind of a running gag. I don't remember I don't remember specifically a lot of the episodes, but I remember that being a good running gag on Home Improvement. When I rewatched it 3 or 4 years ago, it was fun to see the build up over the episode or over the seasons. Community has two of the best Christmas episodes. I mean, you would hate one of them because one of them is called Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas, and excuse me, the entire episode is literally a stop motion claymation
Oh
episode.
no, I've got no problem with stop motion claymation.
Oh, okay.
I think like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas is
Okay.
good. Wallace and Gromit's good. Chicken Run was good.
Okay, my bad.
I just cannot stand
Rudolph.
Rankin Bass.
All right, okay. So one of the episodes is called Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas. It's literally a stop motion thing. And then at the end of it, it's got a really good like Christmas heartfelt feeling about what's going on. And then their other one they did was called Religious Holiday Music, and it was the episode that they did to spoof Glee, where the entire I guess Glee group at Greendale like comes down sick. So the main cast of Community is like rallied to take their place to put on the holiday production. But like it over the course of it, like you find out that the guy that's in charge of the group is played by one of the writers on SNL, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. It's the guy that married Kobe Smulders. I'm drawing a blank on his name. One of the head writers on SNL plays a character on this episode, and he's the head of the Glee department. But you find out that he's like this evil guy that like poisoned his Glee group or whatnot, like because it's ridiculous and absurd. But it's a holiday musical episode, and Allison Brie wears a skimpy Santa costume for most of the episode, or for like half the episode, and that's very good eye candy to watch at Christmas time. So Community hit it out of the park. And growing up, like I remember Full House had some episodes, Family Matters had some episodes, Boy Meets World had a Christmas episode. Just this week we watched the Growing Pains episode.
Ooh, the one where Leonardo DiCaprio steals all the Christmas presents on Christmas Eve and runs away.
That's really funny that you say that, because here's the thing. Your plot is correct, but it was not Leonardo DiCaprio. It was a female that they brought in for Christmas that year who stole all their stuff. But then when they went to go report it to the cops, they found all their stuff on the front porch because she couldn't go through with stealing it. She had put it all in trash bags and took it outside with her, but then left it on the front porch. You're thinking of the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio came in during the last season as a homeless guy that they took in, but he did not try to steal their Christmas presents. You're mixing
up. He didn't Grinch them.
What's that?
He wasn't the one who Grinched them.
No, he wasn't the one.
I could have sworn it was him who did that.
Yeah, he came in like season 6 or 7, I believe, but this was like a season 3 episode. It was some random girl. Like at the beginning of the episode, Alan Thicke is talking about how like their family is like too focused on like material possessions, and they need to learn to like be more open and giving to like lesser fortunate people. So Ben is out behind some like pizza parlor or something and jumps in the trash can. I can't even remember what his reason is, but when he jumps in the trash can, he ends up landing on top of this homeless girl. And so because of his father's speech at the beginning of the episode, he decides to bring her home for Christmas dinner, or Christmas Eve dinner. So then like the episode is them cleaning her up and inviting her, like she comes out and has Christmas Eve dinner with them and whatnot, and like they're very hospitable to her and trying to be like Jason. Like one of my favorite scenes is like after the girl like washes up and gets cleaned up, she comes out and talks to Jason for a little, the dad, Jason Seaver, for a little bit, and she's just like, I don't need to talk to no stinking shrinks or anything. Like I don't need to open up to anybody. And he's like, well, I'm a shrink and you're going to open up to me. Like, it's just one of those fun conversations, like one of those fun, like early 90s conversations where she just happened to say the right thing where he could be like, well, I am a shrink and you're talking to me type situation. But she had run away from her home because she didn't get along with her dad or whatever. So then like they try to do their best to show her what a good family can be like. And then for a moment they show you, or they show us as the audience, where she's putting all the wrapped presents into trash bags and whatnot. And so the next morning when everybody wakes up and all the presents are gone, you think, oh, she went through with it, she stole from them, that sucks. But then the family opens up the front door and all of those it's like 3 trash bags of presents are sitting on the front porch. And then it cuts to the final scene of the episode where she actually calls her dad from a payphone and is like, hey, Dad, I miss you, like, type thing. So, like, it shows you that Jason's conversation got through. Or I only have that fresh on my brain because we just literally watched it like a week ago. But like it's one of those ones where
you had to give the whole rundown. So if anybody was ever interested, they don't even need to watch the episode now.
they don't need to watch it. I mean, Growing Pains is available on Hulu. Enjoy yourself. It's a really good show. So 2020 has been really screwed up, and it's really affected a lot of everybody's plans for everything. Yeah, I'll cheers you to a screwed up 2020. I think that's the biggest drink of beer I've ever seen you take in my life, other than doing an Irish car bomb, but proud of you for that. You don't do that anymore.
There's a reason.
We're talking about 2020. All right.
Give me half an hour, and I'll probably be passed out on the floor over.
Your family, you and your wife specifically, and me, and by extension my wife because she married into it. We both have had concert traditions in our relationships. I was unable to go see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra this year because of the fact that COVID canceled everything. And you and Letha were unable to go see Straight No Chaser this year because of COVID. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra did an online pay-per-view thing. It was $30, which is still a tenth of the cost that I paid for my tickets to go watch Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So that was okay with me to pay. Straight No Chaser did the same thing for you guys. And according to Letha's post, you guys got to introduce your kids to Straight No Chaser. How did that go?
We learned that they are not ready to watch a concert. So
really,
yeah. Wait a few more years before we start bringing them along. They were trying to dance. They danced. They kept talking. So it was just that moment of like, okay, they're not ready for this just yet. So there's no need to buy them a ticket in the next year or two. We'll wait a little bit longer. So
were you and Letha at least able to enjoy the show?
Absolutely. Okay. Straight No Chaser is always awesome to watch, and we had a lot of fun.
Straight No Chaser vodka?
I don't have any Straight No Chaser vodka.
I haven't bought the Hard Truth. You told me you did buy some.
No, I thought about it, but I haven't bought it yet. The Hard Truth vodka is not something I have purchased as of yet.
Right on. We, in 2018, took Lily to her first TSO concert, and she absolutely loved it. My big complaint. I got a picture of it, but my big complaint, Lily went to her first ever TSO concert in 2018, which would have been around my 12th TSO concert. Her first concert she ever went to, flicked a guitar pick right into her hand. Of all the shows that I've been to, I have never gotten a drumstick or a guitar pick ever. Like, no memorabilia whatsoever. Her first show she ever went to, guitarist just flicked a guitar pick right to her. So she still has that. She holds it over my head all the time. We got a picture of her holding it. So good for her. 2019, TSO actually didn't even come to Indiana. It must have been some scheduling conflict with Conseco, but that sucked. So I didn't even get to see them last year. And then this year we had to do the concert version of it, which was cool, but still, obviously, I mean, it was a 90-minute concert as opposed to they usually do a 3-hour show. I don't know what the Straight No Chaser concert was.
They usually do about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, TSO usually does the first hour and a half is their Christmas story, whichever one of their Christmas albums they decide to turn into a story, and that's about an hour and a half, and then they have a intermission, and then the last hour and a half is the rest of their Christmas music and some of their non-Christmas stuff. They kind of mix all in together. So it's usually about a 3-hour concert. We only got 90 minutes of it this year. They didn't use all of their talent. There's some of the East Coast talent that we are really accustomed to, like the guy on the East Coast tour that plays the electric violin is a guy named Roddy Chong, and we didn't get him this year on their studio thing they did. They used a female violinist that is good, but like Roddy Chong is like over the top, like dancing and moving a lot while he's playing the violin, and she just kind of stands there. So that was a little disappointing. Some of the vocalists were obviously some of the West Coast people because we didn't recognize them, and they weren't as good as what we're used to, but it was still a good 90-minute experience. We still got to see TSO, not as many lights, not as, is usually a really electric light show and whatnot, but I was still happy we got some kind of TSO this year, and Lily got to sit and watch it with us. So, do you think you will wait till all four of your children can go to Straight No Chaser, or would you take like the two oldest for a while? You have no
It's
idea.
kind of nice to just have a parents' night
night
that's just dedicated every year, that us parents get to walk out the door and not think about the kids for an hour, a few hours. So,
I like that.
Who knows?
You deserve it.
And who knows? Maybe at some point in time we will start taking the kids. But we go with some other friends. We usually turn it into double, triple date kind of thing, whatever.
Well, what was it? How many years ago was it that it became really special? Was that 2 years ago?
That was 3 years ago.
3 years ago? Why don't you tell that fun story?
So yeah, my wife was pregnant with our fourth child, and she started having contractions earlier that day, and I came home from work and saw the look on her face, and I said, "Are we even going to this concert?" And she said, "I look forward to this every year. We're not missing this concert. This kid can wait."
Nice.
And so yeah, we went to dinner, we went to the show, and during the show she was turning her phone over every few minutes. She was timing her contractions.
Oh wow.
And by the time we got done with the show and got out to the vehicle to drive home, she was calling the hospital to tell them, "Hey, I'm in labor," like this. And so I want to say we left that show probably around 10:30, whatever. We got home about 11:30, somewhere in that range. And Lucas was born at like 3 a.m. So
nice.
Yeah, he's our Straight No Chaser baby. So
that's so awesome, man. That was so cool.
It was just hilarious to I just kept looking over at her worried, because I was like, here we are in downtown Indianapolis, and our hospital where we were supposed to deliver this child is 35 minutes away. And if we go home and then go to the hospital, it was a total of like an hour. So we had to actually go back and get our vehicle, and the people we were with offered to drive us straight to the hospital. And Letha was like, "No, I'm okay. I can make it home and we can grab our stuff." So
right on. That's so awesome. It's so great that Luke is a Straight No Chaser, baby.
Yeah, it's so silly.
All right, so now comes the tough question, and I'm worried about the answer to it, but I've prepared myself. Were you and Letha able to watch Secret Santa this week?
We have not watched it yet.
All right, okay. All right, so that makes me sad, but I'm going to talk for a quick minute about what I consider my favorite Christmas movie that's not like a mainstream Christmas movie. It was aired on CBS in 2003, and then it became a Lifetime movie for a couple of years, and then probably at least the last 5 years I have not seen it on TV. Every year, IMDb is really good, where when I go and look at it on IMDb, it will tell me if it's airing on any channel, in the month of December. It's been at least 5 years since it aired on Lifetime. I have been lucky that this year I have passed on copies of it to Amanda Brown, my friend Steve Brown's wife, and our former employee Mark Stratton. I have given both of them copies of the movie, and both of them have absolutely loved it. And that makes me happier than anything to show this movie to other people who love it. Because it's just one of those, it's just a good, heartfelt movie. Because your main character is Jeannie Garth. She's not a Scrooge. She doesn't hate Christmas. She doesn't, like, the story isn't turning her from a Christmas hater to a Christmas lover. She's a journalist who is tasked with going to a small Indiana town. She lives in Indianapolis. She's tasked with going to a small Indiana town where over the last 20 years there's been a secret Santa who every year gives a big gift to somebody in the town. One year they gave the mechanic a tow truck because he had no way to tow cars back to his shop. one year they gave a wheelchair to a paralyzed boy because he didn't have a wheelchair.
Are you going to ruin the entire movie?
No, I'm giving you the hooks for the movie. I'm telling you that, like, I'm giving you the plot of the movie. So Jeannie Garth's character goes to this small town to try to uncover who Secret Santa is. So the whole movie is her interviewing the people of this small Indiana town, and like she sets her sights on one person that she thinks is Secret Santa, and she interviews other people and tries to eliminate them, and just goes through this whole process of trying to figure out who's the person who's been giving these large, lavish, expensive gifts to people for the last 20 years, and he's never been discovered. And throughout the course of the movie, she becomes friendly with, like, that's the thing, like, she's not a Grinch, she's not a Scrooge, like, she doesn't hate all these people in this town. She literally embraces the town, becomes friends with the mayor, becomes friends with, like, this little boy that has to have a wheelchair. Like, she integrates herself into this town, not only because she's there trying to figure out who Secret Santa is, but just because these are all good people and she's being friendly and whatnot. There's a lot of, like, there's a couple of Larry Bird references. There's some Reggie Miller references. Like, there's a lot of Pacers references. So there's things that make me like it more because it's small town Indiana feel. Like, there's things that I love about it that way. But the payoff in the end is so well done that, like, Mark Stratton, when he watched it last night, he replied to it, like, he tagged me in a comment and said, "Hey, I'm watching this tonight." And a couple of hours later, it popped up, and it was like, well, his first comment was this cast, because it has an amazing cast of, like, small people. But then his second comment was, I'm getting choked up. It's one of those feel good movies. And again, it's good because she's not a Grinch character that is, like, so hateful towards Christmas and, oh, when is she going to come around? Like, she likes Christmas. She enjoys everything. She just is trying to do her job and trying to figure out. It's like a mystery of who is Secret Santa in this town. And it's really fun and well done in the end. And it's my favorite Christmas movie aside from, like, giant blockbusters. Like, I don't think it's better than Elf or Christmas Vacation or anything like that. But, like, as far as, like, a micro, like, this is whenever you and Letha get to watch it, like, this is the kind of Christmas movie I would want to make. Like, in 2008, when I was pitching you and Zach on, like, the Christmas movies, I was, like, trying to come up with ideas for Gemini Films to make. Like, this movie was a huge influence on it. Like, I didn't want to do your main character's a Grinch and we have to figure out a way to make them like Christmas. Like, that's not what it is. So I really hope that you and Letha have a chance to watch it this year because, like I said, the two people I have opened up given access to it this year have both really loved it, and that just makes me really happy. So knowing how your wife likes Christmas movies, I'm more trying to sell it to her than you.
Understood.
All right. So at some
she's
point,
off the next 5 days in a row,
cool.
So I might be able to make it happen before Christmas.
Awesome. And then we can talk about it in our first 2021 episode where we look back on 2020, and you can put it as your number one movie of 2020 that you saw.
Absolutely.
Exactly. All right. So since Shane Day, I have kept a list of all of the Christmas movies that I have watched so far. I passed. You should
just put this on the screen. This is a very long list.
It is. Oh, I'm gonna read it real quick, and then you can discuss any of them that you're questioning. So Christmas Vacation and Elf and A Charlie Brown Christmas are the three things that I watch on Shane Day every year. They're staples in my life. It's while I'm decorating my house. And then Charlie Brown Christmas is the first thing I watch when I get home from the tree lighting, usually. This year,
there's so many things on here twice or three times.
Oh, there is. I mean, there's things on here. As I watched everything, I just put it on here.
That's so silly.
Well, a lot of them we caught on either Freeform or on AMC. They were just airing, so we watched them.
Yeah, but you don't need to list it how many times you've watched it.
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. All right. So those three. Christmas Vacation, Elf, Charlie Brown Christmas, all on Shane Day. Then we have Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2. Then I watched Secret Santa the day after Shane Day, maybe. Then it was Love Actually, The Family Man, Christmas Vacation again, Elf again, the 2000 version of the Jim Carrey version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Santa Claus 1 and 2, Home Alone 1 and 2 again, Jingle All the Way, Santa Claus 3, Love Actually, Home Alone 2 again, Die Hard, because obviously I understand Die Hard's a good Christmas movie. I like watching Die Hard, so I watched it one day. Mixed Nuts, one of my favorite 90s Christmas comedies. It's a black comedy with a great cast. Elf again, Love Actually again, Home Alone again. We sat down and did family movie night and watched the 2018 version of The Grinch, which I agree sucks. You know who directed that movie?
No.
Scott Mosier.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Kevin Smith's best friend. Yeah.
Yep.
He directed that. Very interesting. 12 Dates of Christmas, which we can talk about because that's a really fun one. Office Christmas Party, Trapped in Paradise, Fred Claus, Surviving Christmas, Secret Santa again, Dear Santa starring Amy Akers, which is kind of a blah movie. The 12 Dates of Christmas again, because I wanted to show it to Caitlin and Lily after I'd already watched it. Happiest Season, the Hulu Christmas movie. The Heart of Christmas, starring Candace Cameron, which was kind of blah, to be honest. A Very Brady Christmas, because I don't think I'd ever watched it before. Miracle on 34th Street, the 1994 version.
Hello, John. Hello, John.
Yes. It was very odd watching him. Like, I think I've only ever watched that movie one other time, and it may have been in like 94, 95, like around the Jurassic Park era or whatnot. So I didn't remember a lot of the movie. I do love Dylan McDermott. I do love Dylan McDermott, so it was fun to watch him again. But I enjoyed it, and like I said, having not seen it in over 20 years. The Dog Who Saved Christmas, because, I mean, obviously when you're married to my wife, you have to watch dog Christmas movies where dogs talk, and Mario Lopez is the voice of the dog in this movie. A Christmas Story.
You do not have Feliz Navidad on here.
I've been tempted a few times to watch it. And there's also, Mario Lopez also did Holidays in Handcuffs or whatever. That's on Hulu as well, I believe. Where some girl like kidnaps him by handcuffing themselves together for him to go be her Christmas date. Yeah, could be kinky. Christmas Story was a couple of nights ago. Secret Santa again. 12 Days of Christmas Eve. I actually just watched earlier today. Don't shake your head, man. It's Steven Weber and Molly Shannon, and it's Groundhog Day for Christmas, which is also the plot of the 12 Dates of Christmas. So I watched 2 Christmas Groundhog Day movies this year. And then a Mickey's Christmas Carol we watched tonight. So on that list of awesomeness, is there anything you want to talk about that you can't believe I watched or that you want to watch also or you care about at all?
I don't understand. With how many Christmas movies there are in the world, why you have to watch the same 4 over and over and over again.
Well, because the truth be told, a lot of them that we watched, we just had on while we were doing, while we were baking cookies, or while we were, wrapping presents, or while we were doing, a lot of them the Santa Claus and the Santa Claus 2, they were on Freeform or whatever, and we had them on while we were doing other stuff around the house.
You only watched each one of those once. I'm not complaining about that.
Oh, okay. The Home Alone movies are on all the time. So,
Elf is on all the time. I'm surprised the Christmas Story's only on here once.
Yeah, I mean, that's one we just sat down and watched a couple of nights ago or whatever.
I'm excited because this week we get NFL football Friday through Monday.
Yes, it's a lot of days of football. And you, unlike me, have made it very far in our fantasy football league. I was number 1 for a long time, and the first week of the playoffs, I got knocked out. So that was very disappointing. But your team has actually been continuing to play well. You and I battled for number 1 most of this season.
Nope.
It went back and forth. You were number 1 or I was number 1. You were number 1 for a couple of weeks. I took over number one for a week or two, and then you got back into first place. Then I took over number one for most of the end of the season until the last week, where I played the number three person, and Justin beat me, so he literally leapfrogged me. And like him and I flip flopped to 1 and 3, and you stayed at 2.
No, dude. I was 1 or 2 the whole season, and then in the last week I dropped from 2nd down to 4th, and
okay.
and then but yeah, now it's the 4th seed versus the 6th seed in our championship. So
who's the 6th seed? Eddie. Eddie. Dude, yeah, Eddie's the one that beat me. Like Eddie's just, yeah, that first week of matchups, Eddie destroyed me, and I was very upset about it. Like literally, my team just decided to not play that week, and it sucked. So,
yeah.
So congratulations on making it to the finals. Like that's awesome for you.
Yeah, yep. I'm excited. Doesn't happen very often from my team. I didn't trade away the farm like I have in the years past. A lot of times when I'm doing well, sometimes I'll like try to bolster my team by trading away picks and getting people. I did not do that, but only once this year, and I didn't give up too high of a draft pick for it. And yeah, so now I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with, and may the football gods look down upon me justly.
I will root for you since Eddie's the one that knocked me out. So screw him. I don't want him to win. So I will root for you because, like I said, you and I had a great battle for 1 and 2 a lot of this season, and it was a lot of fun texting each other. You were only my second loss of the year. Like I lost week 1 to Troy, and then I went on like a 7-game winning streak to go 7-1 until I met you, and then you were my second loss of the year. And after you and I met at that point, we literally were flip-flopping. Either one of us were 1 and 2 all for the rest of the season, mostly until that last week when I was number 1 and I lost to number 3 Justin.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it is what it is, and I'm happy where I'm at. So
congratulations,
ready to go.
Thank
you.
I won the bullshit game that didn't matter this week. I think I'm in 5th place instead of 6th now. So
you are. So it means that you didn't have to pay for this year.
Woo! All right, so that's all that's all the movies that I've watched this year. What have the mayors been watching this year? Have you guys had any movie nights as a family, or have you and Letha had any movie nights? You've watched anything you care about?
Me and the boys, me and the kiddos watched Jingle Jangle.
That is on my list
Netflix.
To watch. Yes, I want
and
to
so
watch
it was entertaining. The kids loved it.
Good.
I was happy to see that they were so happy with it. So
Jingle Jangle and Christmas Chronicles 2 are my 2 that I haven't gotten to watch this year. That like we're waiting for like family movie night to do both of those movies because I don't know if you watched the first Christmas Chronicles, but I really enjoyed that one like 2 years ago.
Really enjoyed that as well last year.
So
hoping we'll like this one. A lot of people are saying it's not as good as the first one,
which is
but
understandable.
Yeah. So you've got that, and then if you haven't seen Klaus, I recommend Klaus. The boys watched it without me. It's the story of Santa Claus and him becoming like he's a normal guy. It's on Netflix. He's a normal guy, and it's a town that's kind of divided.
Okay.
And they hate each other. One side hates the other, and they keep fighting over stuff. And then there's this lone woodsman who like creates toys and leaves it for kids in the middle of the night. And it's the story of Santa Claus and how he becomes Santa Claus. And the animation style is kind of unique and cool. So we like that one. We did the Grinch tonight, the Jim Carrey Grinch tonight.
Nice.
What else did we do?
Did you watch it live recently? On Freeform?
No, I think the kids watched it on one of the streaming services. I wasn't up there when they hit start, so
I caught the second half of that movie tonight because it was on Freeform. Like when I went to the living room and just turned on Freeform, the second half of that movie was on while I sat down and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't think there were any commercials on this one. So
gotcha.
So yeah, my wife is like regular watching a lot of
the Hallmark movies.
Hallmark. Christmas movies.
Well, so and that's the one part of the script for tonight's episode that I forgot to do a lot of investigation into. As far as the like Hallmark or Lifetime movies go, some of our favorite actresses growing up have become like huge into that genre. Like Candace Cameron has done 5 to 6 Christmas movies.
Way more than that.
Yeah, Lacey Chabert or whatever.
Chabert or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep, she's done a bunch.
A lot.
Katrina Law, who was on Arrow.
Oh, okay.
She's done quite a few. Brandon Routh, who did the Arrow universe on the CW, has done at least one. The lady who
Mario
played
Lopez has done multiples.
His are usually on the Lifetime network, not on. And then the lady who played Victoria on How I Met Your Mother has done a bunch of Hallmark movies.
One of the Hallmark ones that ones that I watched was the Amy Akers one, Letters to Santa or Dear Santa, or Dear Santa with Amy Akers. Like, she did that one. It's that was one of those bits that I meant to investigate more for tonight's episode and just forgot to do before I sent you the script. But it's funny how some of those actors and actresses that we grew up with and whatnot have just like made probably some decent bank making Christmas movies.
Movie we didn't mention that is a Christmas movie technically would be Just Friends.
Oh, dude, Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart. Yeah.
Great movie.
So much fun.
Letha pointed out that probably what goes on with the Hallmark channel is very much probably what happened with studios back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, where like an actor or actress signed on with a particular studio and then kind of got pigeonholed because she was like, Lacey Chabert like literally plays like the same kind of character. Like she's always involved with like food or a food critic or something like that. Whereas Candace Cameron is always playing like the hard-nosed like businesswoman. Yep. And so it's like she's like, so it seems like they kind of get pigeonholed by Hallmark, and I was like, maybe they just know that's what, like, they literally are churning these out so quickly. They're just like, just get her, we know she can do this kind of role.
Two things on that. Number one, Lacey Chabert, or however you say her last name, she did one called Love at the Christmas Table that I really remember liking, and I need to try to find it again to watch it again, but it was one of those ones that I caught randomly. And it was, I remember it because it showed up in one of my Facebook memories a day or two ago that I watched it. And literally I said, Love at the Christmas Table is what I would have wanted Reunion to be if it was a Christmas movie. So I need to try to find a copy of that again to watch Love at the Christmas Table with Lacey Chabert or however you say her last name. And then I've watched a couple of the Candace Cameron ones so far this year, but she did one where I want to say that John Goodman was her dad, and like they owned a Christmas shop or something in a small town, and he was failing in his health, and she was going to take over like the family business of running like the Christmas store in the town or whatever. I really want to say John Goodman was her dad. It might have been a different actor, but I want to look into trying to find that one again to watch it because I have no idea what it's even called. But
gotcha.
When I went to Candace Cameron's page, like she had, a good 10 Christmas movies that she's done. So yeah, Christmas, man. You guys ready for it? We're a couple days away. You guys all shopping done, everything wrapped, everything ready to.
Yeah, I'm done with everything that I'm doing. So.
Do all of your kids still believe in Santa?
Well, I mean, he is real, so why wouldn't they believe in Santa?
All right. I don't think anybody under the age of 21 is listening to this, so.
No.
Yeah, okay. This is our first year of Santa realization.
Yeah, we promised we're not going to fib to the kids anymore if they ask, at least the two older ones.
Yep.
But as of right now, everybody believes.
Good.
And
that's awesome.
We're pretty sure that what we did for Christmas is going to end up causing that belief to be even bigger.
Oh,
so
that's awesome. Good. That's great. I'm happy to hear that.
So,
maybe on the next episode you can fill everybody in on what awesome stuff you pulled off.
Oh, well, we were fortunate enough to travel down to Florida in October. And my mother-in-law lives in a older community down there, and there's a guy who's dubbed Santa Claus.
Oh,
because he's got the big old white beard, and he plays the
role. I'm working on it. Not going to shave for the next 10 years.
He plays the role well, and my kiddos got to write him a letter while they were down there, and so they got the letters to Santa, and then then Santa wrote them back.
That's awesome.
And so we're hoping the magic continues for a little bit longer.
That's good. That's awesome, man. Yeah, we unfortunately hit a point last year after Christmas where we have the same policy. We will not lie to our daughter. So when she flat out asked us the question of is he real or not, we told her the truth. So this is our first non-magical year of Christmas. But, me being me, I gave her the big speech about how now she's in the secret club of the people who have to carry on the mystique, and that any younger children that she's around, she has to act like he is real. And my heart grew 3 sizes bigger when we had Zach's family over for Shane Day, and his kids came over, and as Santa was being discussed, Lily was 100% on board, helping keep the mystique alive, and I couldn't have been prouder. She was amazing. So it sucks that she has to be in on the secret now, but at least I got to watch her keep it alive.
Awesome, man.
Awesome, man. So we will probably take next week off. Next week would be a New Year's Day episode. I don't really feel like we have a lot to talk about after Christmas. We can talk about Wonder Woman, because we are going to see Wonder Woman in the next couple of days. But I feel like we'll probably wait till January 8th. And that first episode of 2021 will probably be... What are you going to say?
Not only are we watching Wonder Woman 84, we are watching it in a movie theater where it is supposed to be watched, people.
That is a humble brag, and I will agree with you that I am very excited about going and watching it in a theater. Just earlier today, I had lunch with my buddies, the Miller brothers. Both of them literally talked about the fact that they miss being inside movie theaters. My buddy Ryan my friend Ryan, one of his friends, rented out one of the AMC theaters to watch Die Hard in. And so, he the $99 or whatever to watch a movie with 20 friends or whatever. So he got to go do that, but he said it wasn't the same, even though he got to watch it on the big screen. Like, the lobby was empty. There was no music in the lobby. There was no sounds of the movie theater being busy. He said that, this is more the employee, but he said his employee that asked him if he wanted any popcorn was very creepy and not personable, so that was kind of funny. But so my buddy Ryan got to go watch Die Hard this month in the theater, which is cool because, as we've said, Die Hard's a Christmas movie, so that was fun for him to do that. But he said that he misses, really going to movies. So I'm excited that you and I are going to go watch Wonder Woman in a movie theater this week with some friends. I don't know how many people will totally be there, but it will be nice to be able to watch that movie in a movie theater. Because I will be honest, things like Palm Springs, I don't need to see that in a movie theater.
No, you don't need to, but if we had been open and that was coming in, I definitely would have watched that.
I 100%
I was pumped for that movie, but yeah, we've talked about it before. There's a lot of things that we watch in theaters because we have the option to, not necessarily because we have to see them in the theater.
Yeah.
So
there are event films like this where when you told me about the opportunity to watch it in a movie theater, I definitely jumped at the chance. I was that's something that I'm excited to watch in a movie theater. So that should be a good week. Our first episode in 2021 will most likely, unless we come up with a better topic, be a look back at 2020 and what our favorite stuff that we got to watch in 2020 was, and we can discuss things that we would have rather have watched in a theater instead of watching them at home, because 90%, 85% of the movies we watched in 2020 were at home. So we can discuss our favorite things that we saw in 2020 and the things that we wished could have been in a theater. Or like, I'm happy I got to watch Tenet twice in a movie theater. Like, that was awesome. I've watched it 4 more times after I bought the movie, and it gets better every time. I mean, that's why I don't have more Christmas movies on my Christmas list, because like literally like 5 days ago it became available or whatever, and I watch it once a day because it's a very enjoyable movie for me, and every time I watch it I feel like I catch little bits and more.
I think that you have an unhealthy obsession with Christopher Nolan. Period. Doesn't matter which movie he releases, you seem to be 6 to midnight for him no matter what. So
cool. Episode 27, Shane's obsession with Christopher Nolan. But yeah, no. So yeah, the first episode of 2021 we'll probably be looking back at 2020, all the stuff that we did get to see, how we got to see it, and if we would have rather seen it in a movie theater, because like I said, 90% of it was not watched in a theater. Yep.
You should call this season 1, episode 25, and then we should start with season 2.
Oh! I will take that into consideration.
Using the big noggin.
I'll take that into consideration. Ooh. Yeah, we'll think about that. We'll talk about that. I also do like the idea of just keeping track of how many episodes we've actually done overall, instead of breaking it up. But we'll figure it out. So anyway, man, Merry Christmas, dude. Happy holidays. Thank you for everything you have done with me in 2020. This year has been ridiculous. It sucked for us personally and professionally. We've been able to be creative both with the podcast, with our Gemini film stuff, with our YouTube channel, with Consternate and the 20th anniversary of that. I have loved all of the creative stuff we've done in 2020. It sucks that it took a pandemic for us to make all of this stuff happen. But I'm looking forward to us staying creative together and seeing where things go in 2021, whether movie theaters reopen or what we decide to do with the podcast, or what happens in the future. Thank you. We've done over 2,500 minutes of content. YouTube emailed me a couple of days ago and said, hey, congratulations on 2,350 minutes or whatever of content we'd done. But that was before like the last 2 episodes came out, and then we're adding this episode. So we've definitely broken like 2,500 minutes of content for this year. And that's not possible without you, man. Like, I did a few things by myself, but you're like the voice of reason. Anybody that I've talked to that has listened to the podcast is like, you really say some dumb stuff. Thank God Jason is there to like keep you like grounded. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, you say some really dumb stuff. Like, we like getting Jason's opinion on things. So I feel like you play more to the audience than I do, but that is why I am eternally grateful to have you be a part of this.
It's a lot of fun, man.
I love talking movies with you, my friend. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas and Kwanzaa or whatever you celebrate, Hanukkah, Merry Holidays to everybody who's listening.
All of them.
This is our last episode for 2020. Hopefully we see you in 2021 with some light at the end of the tunnel, but we'll keep doing this as long as we can, man. Merry Christmas.